Okay, so I'm now going to cover the problem-solving section, general guide and overview for the upcoming thinking skills assessment. I'm just going to do a couple more videos about the TSA and then move on to other subjects, but obviously now the time of preparation is basically running out. So what I want to do is just go through a few general tips and tricks of how to solve these questions, how to approach them, how to simplify things maybe for you, and then I've just got up some random questions and I'm just going to solve them, and then as I go hopefully you can pick up maybe some things that you hadn't thought about before if it's helpful, whatever. So the first thing that you should always be thinking when you approach problem solving questions is that what is the level of skill required for you to be able to solve that question. Hopefully you've all had a look through the TSA guide of problem solving. If you haven't, I'd really recommend just having a quick read through that. But just to summarise the general ideas, is that there is no complex maths required to answer any of these questions. If you find yourself doing really difficult fractions or really difficult calculations, you've probably gone off track. So the first thing you have to do is just put yourself in the mindset of, okay, these are GCSE at best level questions, probably not, and particularly the skills required aren't even that. So the general kind of what they expect from you is to be able to do the basic sort of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then maybe a little bit of like sort of ratios, percentages, and then just finding like general areas, and then apart from that it's just identifying information from whatever data they've given you. So there are no sort of tricks or no sort of special formulas that you need to learn or know for this. So I would say that the best thing to do is when you first look at a question, immediately try and identify which skills you think that they're asking you to use here. Once you've done that, it can keep you on track, it can help you move through the question quite quickly, and that should speed up hopefully your answering and make you more confident. The second thing is that what I find difficult about the problem solving occasionally is because it's very wordy. They tend to give you a really kind of like contextualized, really in-depth sort of explanation of something that is actually a very simple concept. So it's all about you converting what's there in words into, as quickly as possible, something numerical, something that you can draw out, something visual. As soon as you've done that, you basically just want to ignore the writing as much as possible. It doesn't matter what their names are or what the subject is. So I would quickly convert it into sort of letters, symbols as soon as possible. So apart from sort of those two general rules, the other thing is if it's taking you a very long time or you're feeling like it's a trick question or something, it's not, okay? So don't get too trapped in that. But if you are going down that route, I would really recommend just moving on from that question and coming back to it, because when you look at it with fresh eyes, it may look entirely different. So I've just got up some random questions, and I haven't looked at them yet, so hopefully I can just approach it as I would as you might in an exam, and then we can just see, maybe you could solve them along with me. So, first question here. You can see I'm looking at it, and again, there's a lot of words in here, but I'm spotting some numbers. 19, 12, 7, £1. So I know it's not particularly going to be difficult sums, but what I would do is I would read the question first. The reason I would do that is just because by doing that, you are, as you're reading the question itself, not wasting any time having to backtrack and try and understand what it is that you're trying to identify. So it's not always helpful, but I would personally do that just on the off chance that it is helpful when it just takes such little time to do it that way. So I'm looking at the question, it says, how many of my friend's coupons are worth 19p? So I know 19p is the number of vouchers that of coupons that I need to find, okay? So then I'm going to go through and read, so I'm just going to skim, so I'm saying, okay, there's a coupon, a promotion, some are worth 19p, some are worth 12p, and some are worth 7p. And then I have at least one of each value, so I know that I have a 19, a 12, and a 7. I have 7 coupons in total, so I've already used 3 here, so I need to calculate the value of 4 more, and the total value is £1, okay? So I know that these ones I already have, so I'll just quickly add that up, and that gives me 38 pence. So I now just have to account for 62 pence of coupons, okay? So how would I approach this one? I know that I have 4 coupons remaining, so I know that this number here needs to divide into into some combination of these. So this looks like pretty simply like a factors question, so I'm just going to immediately try and divide this number into smaller parts. So I've got something times 2. So to make 31, obviously I can do that very simply with 19 and 12. So I have now figured out that I need I've got 2 coupons of 19, 2 coupons of 12, and then the original 19, 12, and 7. So I need to know how many are 19 pence. So I know 1, 2, 3. So the answer would be C. So again, there's no need to overcomplicate anything here. It's all very like small numbers, and especially when you see numbers like this, you can kind of, without calculating, know that you're going to have to use, you can tell which combination that you might have to use. Obviously you could have done this by having the 12 and the 7 instead of the 19, but because we need 4 coupons exactly, that wouldn't work. Okay, so next question. Right, so immediately looking at this question, what I'm seeing is a lot of information, a lot of data. I know I'm not going to need all of this, so I need to eliminate anything that's not useful. Again, I would read the question first. So, which was the only team that scored at least 1 goal in every match they played in last season? So, and then I'm also going to have a look at the answers here. When they give you a lot of information, look at the possible options first, because there's only 5 potential ones, right? Then you shouldn't be looking at every single team result. So let's look at the rules. So we know that it's the results of all the matches played last season. The home team score is always given first. They put that in brackets, but obviously that is extremely important. So that means that the first number, so if it's this way, the home team, then the first number would apply to Danube or whatever. And then in going down this way, it would be the second number, that would be their score. So it's pretty easy to read this table. Just make sure you look carefully at what they've labelled it. And each team plays each other twice, whatever. So then we'll just go through the options one by one once you've understood the rule. So with Amazon, I'm just going to read across the table and see if they've scored in every home team match first. So I've got 2, 2, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, fine. And then Amazon going down, 3, 2, 2, 0. So that's not going to work for us. And then I'm just going to continue to do the same thing. Have a look at Ganges that way. Oh, they didn't score here. And then Nile as well. They didn't score here. Rhine. Yeah, so it's going to be that. Obviously no need to double check any of the rest of it. So yeah, with the kind of large data questions, read the question first, carefully identify what the axes or what the diagram is actually showing you. If there's any conditions or rules given to you in the passage, make sure you highlight that, and then just go through. And the only reason you should be getting this kind of question wrong is obviously just human error. Okay, so now looking at this one, again, question first, what mass of chemical X must he add? Okay, so what are we trying to do here? We've got 2 chemicals, X and Y, immediately going to start writing it down into sort of shorthand, because look at this stuff, ready to use by all of the groups in year 9 at high school, obviously completely unnecessary. So we've got a total of 6 kilograms mixed, and of that, a quarter is X, so that would be 1.5 kilograms, and then 3/4 would be Y. He's got the wrong mix. He doesn't want to waste, so he needs to add more of chemical X so that we get to 40% of X and 60% of Y. Now, this is pretty simple stuff. All you need to do is put these into the same kind of same format, right? So maybe we'll just turn. I'll just say right now we've got 1 part X to 3 part Y, and we want to get to 4 part X to 6 part Y, which is obviously 2 part to 3. So we just need to double this amount and keep this guy the same. So we're going to double that to get to 3 kilograms, which means how much must he add? It's going to be B. So again, this is a very common question type that you might get in problem solving, where you have a mixture of percentages and fractions, but this is as difficult as it's going to get in terms of the numbers. So if I saw this, you would just think in the back of your head, okay, I just need to convert one into the other. So just get used to as well the range of questions that may come up. So obviously you can only do that by pretty much going through all the past papers and then solving it and then identifying, okay, what kind of question was this? Okay, this one I'm looking at it and there's so much kind of work. It's so wordy, right? So again, I'm just going to say, where did they go on holiday? So clearly these are our options for holidays. And then it says allocating, first choice is 3 points, second choice is 2 points, third choice is 1 point. The friends will not go anywhere, which was not someone's first choice. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, one of those is going to be knocked out because nobody chose it as their first choice. It's 5 friends. From now, I mean, this is just like, there's no shortcut to this, unfortunately. You just do have to kind of just put down everybody's first, second, third choice and then add it up. So Joe and Mel, and then what are the other names? Kim, Lexi, Naz. Okay, so that's 5 friends. Joe Mel wants Portugal, France is their second choice, Kim wants Mallorca, Lexi's is Greece, Naz's is Tenerife. So already from this I know that I'm probably going to cut out France because it's not in there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Naz and Kim both put France as their second choice. Okay, and then anyway, Lexi gave it her third choice. Where is Lexi? Oh, sorry, this is France. And then preferring Tenerife as her second choice. And then Kim and Mel put Tenerife as their third choice. And Joe's third choice was Greece. And Naz's was Mallorca. So now it's just a simple matter of adding it up, okay? So we've got Portugal, 3, 3, so that's a total of 6. And then we've got Mallorca, 3, 4, so that's obviously not going to be Mallorca. And then Greece, 3, 4, again, that's not going to be the one. And then Tenerife, we've got 3, 4, 5, 3, 5, 6, 7, so it's actually going to be Tenerife. Okay, I don't know why I got so confused there, but anyway, so just draw it out, just add it up. Again, this should be sort of like a human error one if you do get this one wrong. This kind of like point system, this allocation of which choice would we choose based on given conditions is a very common one, so you know, become used to that as well. Okay, so here as well, it's given us a lot of information and I'm certain we're not going to need all of it, so it's about picking out the correct information, right? So how many oatcakes are there in a packet? That's the question. And we're given how much energy each oatcake provides, and then we're given values per 100 grams. We are also told that the packet of oatcakes is 300 grams, so we know we're going to have to multiply whatever by 3. So I'm just going to pick out the top one, 53 calories in one oatcake, and then in 100 grams there are 427 calories. Let's just roughly divide that to give about 8, times that by 3, so 24 oatcakes in a packet. Again, this one is just basic multiplication and division, but it's about picking out the right information and then just making sure you're not missing any steps. So I suppose where they would hope that you'd be detailed in this is noticing that it's 300, 100, and then 1 oatcake. So it's giving you different kind of levels of, it's giving you different quantities, right? And then it's your job to sort of figure out, therefore, how many would be in a packet. Okay, what is the minimum number of boats needed? Okay, so we've got a tourist attraction, a ferry service, mainland, island, and it takes 40 minutes to make a single journey in each direction. Turnaround +5. Okay, each day we leave every 20 minutes starting from 9:05 the mainland, so it's going to be 9:05, 25, 45. So I'm going to calculate immediately without looking at it yet. The rest of it, just what time the boat would be then ready to leave the island. So that would obviously be 9:50. And then 10:10 and 10:20 if you could calculate the fact that it's got this turnaround time. Okay, and then going back from the island, it's leaving starting at 9:15, 35 and 55. All we have to calculate is how many boats are needed. So obviously we just need to see if there's any overlap between these two boats. So this boat, which is leaving at 9:55, can obviously share this first boat that's arrived here because obviously this one will be ready to leave at the same time. So that's one boat there. Are there any overlaps between the others? Unfortunately not. So we'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boats. Minimum. Okay, so this kind of question, very common as well. So it's just get really, I think just get used to sort of drawing things out immediately, and things like, you know, this turnaround time of 5 minutes, they might as well just put that it takes 45 minutes. So just try and simplify it in your mind as much as possible. They are not really trying to trick you here. Right, so you have another question here. This one is asking us, how much money will Joan save each day on cat food when she buys online versus local pet store? She has a cat called Tiba and he eats this amount of food, and I'm guessing there's just different costs, we just have to add it up. So again, this one is just a very simple sort of calculation. Addition, multiplication, your basic skills. So unfortunately there's no shortcut here, you're just going to have to work it out. So let's just go through this quickly. So he eats 2 sachets of wet food and then 25 grams of dry food. So from the local pet store, one box of 12 sachets costs £12. So 2 sachets will be £2, nice and simple. 400-gram packet of food costs £4, which obviously means that the 25 grams will cost 25p. That's fairly easy. And then, okay, online distributor. 4 boxes, 24 sachets, each 24 sachets, 62.40. So that means that 12, 30, sorry, I'm just trying to calculate. Okay, so 62.40, so that means 4 boxes. So then if we divide that by 4, first of all, 1560, and then we'll just divide that by 24. So that should give 120, 65. Okay, so 65 pence per sachet times 2, because we need 2 of them, £1.30. And then we also need to calculate, okay, so we've got 2 kilograms of dry food will cost £16. So obviously we just need to find that 1 kilogram, £8, which would mean that the 25 grams would cost 20p. So we're going to add that, and that would give us 150. So the difference between the two values is obviously going to be 75 pence. So it is definitely, you have to, there's just no avoiding this one unfortunately, but you should, the important thing is to recognise that it's just a simple calculation question. Shouldn't be at least a scary question because you know exactly what to do. Okay, so here, how many of the 45 creatures that Billy captured were ERPs? So we've got a computer game, 3 types of creatures, ARPs, AWPs and ERPs. As soon as I see something like this, what I'm going to do is just like write it into symbols, just because I don't want to have to think about what a tail, horn, whatever. It's not really relevant in any way, and it will just help you to kind of detach yourself from it being like a question about something mythical and about being just basic maths. Okay, so he's captured 45 creatures in total, and those 45 creatures have 222L plus 99H plus 33T, okay? So looking at this, the first thing you're going to look at is, okay, we need to eliminate some of these in order to find out how many are these ERPs, right? So the easiest one to eliminate, just looking at the type of equation that we've got here, is obviously going to be this one, because you can see that in each case, the other ones are multiples, but for this tail, ARPs and ERPs only have 1 tail apiece, which means that there are 33 A plus U. So then O, we know that there must be 12. So that's obviously very helpful to us. That's now going to be very easy. So there are 12 AWPs. So we know that all of them have legs. So the easiest one, again, to eliminate is now going to be the horns. So we know that 24 of these horns must belong to the AWPs, which must mean that 75 of the horns now belong to the ARPs, which means that there are 25 ARPs. We'll just sub that back into our original equation here. So there must be 8 ARPs. With these ones, I really try not to look at the answers like this one and this one. I would not look at the answers before because it helps as like a checking mechanism of, okay, if your answer doesn't exist, then obviously you've gone wrong somewhere. But if it does, you're most likely going to be correct. So I would try and avoid looking at this list before you've looked at the question. Okay, so again, here we've just got a lot of information. I'm guessing we've got how much will the transaction cost me. So we've got something that we're going to have to eliminate here. So it's the easiest way is usually to go left to right, and then that is usually the way they organize these things. But let's have a look. So a new printer paper, it comes in rolls. I need 210 millimeters wide, up to 25.4 millimeters diameter. Don't care how long the paper is, buy in rolls in bulk if they're cheaper. Most economical paper, cannot afford more than £30. Okay, so simple. Right, 210 millimeters wide, that one's out, so we'll just cut that entire row. Up to 25.4 millimeters in diameter. Here's the diameter actually. This one's 50.8, so we'll cut that one out. So we're left with 3 rows now. So first things first is like, which one are we looking at? We've got single rolls here and a pack of 6 rolls here. So I'm guessing this one would be preferred if it is cheaper. But we'll look at the single rolls first. Which column are we looking at? The price, I'm guessing. This one doesn't matter, this one doesn't matter. So let's look in here. So for this one, with 25, okay, they've got different lengths. Okay, so whatever the values are in here, I know I need to multiply this one by 4, this one by nothing, and this one by 2 to get the same kind of conversion of both. So with this one, 250 times 4 is going to give us £10, so this is not as good as this one. 820, so right now this one is the best option, but we'll have a look at this column as well, just to make sure the bulk isn't better, because it's obviously multiplied by 6, right? So in this case, 1314, we need to multiply that by 4, that would give, no. Either way, that's cheaper than this one, isn't it? So that one's technically better than that one, because it's 6, is it? Yeah, times by 4 divided by 6, 40... 52, similar, I guess, but anyway, I think this one's actually slightly cheaper. Okay, and then this one here, we can't afford that, so we can't even look at that one. And then this one here, 2094 for 6 rolls, so obviously we need to times that by 2 and then divide it by 6, and that would give us 6 point something. So this is actually cheaper than this one. So we're ultimately going to decide this one here, D. I guess another way you could kind of have looked at it is to look at these and then just compare the answers first, and then sort of comparing, are these all possible, which one is the best offer out of those possible options. I think you can maybe do it both ways just to double check, like see if any of the other ones are correct, but honestly you probably won't have the time, you do just have to go with your gut. Right, so last question here, let's have a look here. So we've got width of the margin, this is the margin. Company is producing a fly sheet 24 centimetres high, 18 centimetres wide, text in the centre, same width all the way around, margin, so we're just going to call that X and X. Text must occupy half the total area. Okay, so first things first, let's work out the area, and then we can... Okay, so we know that the total area is 432, which means that half of it is going to be 216. Okay, so now what we have to do is make a formula to find one of these areas, okay? So I'm immediately seeing that the best way to do this is going to be that 216 is equal to 24 minus 2x multiplied by 18 minus 2x. I hope that's obvious because that's going to give you the values inside. So we'll just multiply that out, so we'll get 432 minus 48x minus 36x plus 4x squared is equal to 216. Let's do a nice little bit of putting it equal to 0. So we're going to get that 216 minus 78, 84 x plus 4x squared is equal to 0. Let's just simplify that a little bit. We'll probably divide it through by 4. So that's going to give us that 54 minus 21x plus x squared equals 0. Now we just need to factorize that. So to make 21, 18 and 3. 18 times 3 is also 54. X minus 3, x minus 18. Obviously that is too large. So it's going to be this one. So x equals 3 centimeters. So where possible, just put it into a formula, and it's an area, you know, it's not going to get more complicated than that. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I'm going to continue to go through, at least until the exam, just a few different problem solving and critical thinking questions, so please feel free to let me know if there are any tricky ones that you would like to go through.